Nobody in NASCAR grieves quietly, but Tony Stewart isn't grieving at all right now. He's furious, and he's not directing that anger at a competitor or a rule book or a team owner. He's pointing it straight at the fans and the media who are lining up to say beautiful things about Kyle Busch, the same people who spent years making Busch one of the most hated figures in the sport. Stewart isn't celebrating Kyle Busch's legacy. He's calling out the hypocrisy behind it. Here's what went down. Kyle Busch passed away on May 21st at just 41 years old, complications from severe pneumonia that turned into sepsis. The NASCAR community was hit hard. Former rivals Keselowski, Logano, Harvick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. all stepped forward to honor the man. But Tony Stewart, he stepped forward with something different. At an NHRA event in Bristol, Tennessee, a reporter asked Stewart how Busch should be remembered. Instead of a tribute, Stewart launched into a raw, unfiltered takedown of the public's sudden change of heart, and he did not hold back a single word. To understand why Stewart reacted this way, you have to understand who Kyle Busch was and what his career actually looked like from the inside. Busch spent nearly 2 decades in NASCAR's Cup Series as one of the most talented drivers the sport has ever seen. 2 championships, over 200 wins across all 3 national series. Pure, undeniable ability behind the wheel. But the public relationship with Busch was complicated, to say the least. He was aggressive, he was outspoken, he raced with an edge that made him enemies every single weekend, booed at tracks, criticized in broadcasts, mocked on social media. The nickname Rowdy wasn't given to him because fans thought he was charming. It was practically a warning label. Stewart knows that world better than anyone. He had his own reputation as someone who didn't fit the polished, sponsor-friendly mold. The two of them were teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008, and they clashed on the track plenty, including Busch wrecking Stewart at Las Vegas in 2006 and Stewart returning the favor at Daytona in 2009. These weren't distant colleagues. They knew each other, and that's exactly why Stewart's reaction carries so much weight. What Stewart said at Bristol wasn't just emotional, it was a precise indictment of something that happens every single time a polarizing public figure dies. The critics go quiet, the history gets softened, and suddenly everyone who never gave the person the benefit of the doubt is standing at the front of the line to say how much they respected him. Stewart's core argument is simple and hard to dispute. Why does death become the qualification for grace? Busch didn't change who he was in the final weeks of his life. He was the same man who raced with fire and lived without apology for over 20 years. The qualities people are now praising, his passion, his intensity, his authenticity, were all visible while he was alive. The difference isn't the man, the difference is the audience. What makes this moment particularly sharp is that Stewart isn't doing what most people do in grief. He's refusing to perform. He said directly he doesn't care about educating the public on who Kyle Busch was. He already knew. That wasn't a secret he was keeping. It was something people chose not to look for. From a broader sports media perspective, this is a real problem. Coverage tends to flatten athletes into narratives. Busch was cast as the villain for ratings. That framing stuck. And now that the framing no longer applies, everyone wants to rewrite it. But Stewart is pointing out that the damage was already done while Busch was here to feel it. That's not just a NASCAR issue. That's a sports culture issue. The reaction to Stewart's comments has been split right down the middle, which is exactly what you'd expect. One side sees this as the most honest thing said since Busch's death. They believe Stewart is right, that fans and media outlets spent years tearing Busch apart for content and clicks. And now the same voices want to lead the mourning. The argument holds up. Accountability has to go somewhere. The other side finds Stewart's response tone deaf to the moment. They argue that people growing in their appreciation of someone, even after they're gone, is still genuine. That grief can change a person's perspective. That not everyone gets the chance to express admiration while someone is still alive, and that shouldn't disqualify them from feeling it at all. Both reactions are understandable, but Stewart wasn't interested in a balanced take. He was expressing something raw and specific, and in doing so, he sparked a conversation that NASCAR has largely avoided. Best case, Stewart's comments forced a real conversation inside racing culture about how the media and fan bases treat drivers, especially the ones with strong personalities. The sports journalism takes an honest look at how it covered Busch during his career and adjusts its approach with the next generation of divisive talents. Then Stewart's anger becomes something constructive. Busch's legacy shapes how the next Dylan gets covered. Worst case, this becomes a moment of short-term controversy that fades fast. The tributes continue. The retrospect is run. A documentary gets made. And in 5 years, a young driver with Busch's personality gets the same treatment because nothing actually changed. Stewart's frustration becomes a footnote, not a turning point. Here's the question that actually matters coming out of all of this. Is Tony Stewart wrong? Not about Kyle Busch specifically, but about the broader pattern. About the way sports culture builds villains for entertainment and then discovers humanity only when there's no one left to apologize to. Did you watch Kyle Busch race for 20 years and love that he was the guy everyone hated? Or did you actually respect what he brought to the sport while he was still competing? Drop your answer in the comments. Defend your take. Because Stewart opened the door to a conversation that this sport has been avoiding, and it's a conversation worth having. If you want more unfiltered sports takes that go beyond the surface, hit subscribe. We're not here to repeat the headlines. We're here to break them down.